Well, Ayrton was, for me, the most iconic figure in sport, and he was I feel he is the driver still today that everyone aspires to be. Like, you know, even though they say they might suggest another driver, I know deep down inside I feel they want to be like Ayrton.
I admire him a lot of what he did as a sportman. Not only as a driver, I think he brought a lot to Formula One in terms of personality. His personality was very authentic. And this time in this generation, it's difficult to see an authentic personality such an Ayrton.
Monaco qualifying when he was 1.5 seconds quicker than Alain, and that just doesn't happen in motor racing and at this level of motor racing. So, an immense talent taken away from us far too soon, and
well, I think Ayrton is definitely a kind of king, you know, for us in Brazil. So he's such a important name that we have now, and he was such an important man for Brazil.
Senna was one of the best of all time, you know, and I watched a lot of his races. I remember the tragic weekend in Imola. I remember what I was doing, and yeah, he did so much for the sport and for the fans, and he'll forever be a legend of the sport.
He had the most talent, God-given talent of any driver I ever raced against.
He dominated the sport. He became the sport.
Ayrton Senna, the new world champion.
He is different, and he was different.
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic!
He was always the one who would go to the limits and sometimes beyond.
Kevin immediately! This is amazing!
Ayrton was above of everyone.
He had this belief that he had a God-given right to win.
Ayrton Senna wins at Monaco for the 5th time.
And the track and a racing car is extraordinarily special.
Wheel-to-wheel stuff. Look at this, they're almost touching.
The most important thing to all of us is to keep the good moments and keep the happiness that we had together. I had a tremendous time. You know, the records speak for themselves, the results, the championships, and I got respect from the people who I worked with so long. I have tremendous respect for them as well. I leave friends behind, and I think that's the best way to do it. We are here in this 3rd round, European season, starting now, starting from 0. So basically our championship starts here, 14 races, not 16.
Imola, 1994, the fatal accident of Roland Ratzenberger on the Saturday, and the crash that claimed the life of Ayrton Senna on the Sunday. 20 years on, everyone remembers the mood and detail and implications of that tragic weekend.
I remember well, we walked together to the briefing in the morning on Sunday, and Ayrton says to me, Gerd, next week or in 2 weeks we should all sit together about safety. We should talk about safety. There's a couple of ideas I have, we would like to talk with you.
During the safety car period, 7 laps, there was no, apart from us saying to Ayrton, keep over on the right-hand side on the grid, there was no exchange, although quite certain the radio was working. He didn't say anything to us, and we didn't say anything else to him.
We liked each other, really. And I remember in the starting grid, I was behind with the Ferrari, and he was sitting in the car already, and I was just walking back. And of course, Ferrari driver in Imola, me was very special there, so I got all the fans jumping in up and down and waving to me. And Ayrton was looking to me and was loving and was doing like this, and you could see we've been friends. He was happy for me, and that's the last thing I remember him, and that's how I like to remember him.
It was an enormous shock for all of us, and the worldwide grief at this tragedy had absolutely no precedent.
for Frank, it was, you know, an amazing day when he finally signed Ayrton, and I think to this day he will continue to regret that it was cut so short, his time with us.
I think he would take it to the limit. Of course, he would be afraid of getting hurt or dying, but not to the point where you would deter him from exploring the limits.
He had this incredibly personality, electricity around here. I mean, you could be in the paddock and then Ayrton said, wow, Ayrton Senna. He had this thing, you know, you either have it or you don't.
Ayrton Senna wins at Monaco for the 5th time.
Without Ayrton, it would have been maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 more championships. It's possible.
Got to remember him as a great racing driver and a quite incredible personality.
If my life would have been different, yes, maybe a little bit, but at the time, not now.
He was one of those guys that he have an aura, wherever if he comes up into a room, that room changes.
I feel happier now than I could have been if I was only a racing driver winning 1 or 2 more championships.
I definitely think in Ayrton's case that he totally put his faith in God, and whatever would be God's will, and he just got on with his job.
I had a tremendous time. You know, the records speak for themselves, the results, the championships. The most important thing to all of us is to keep the good moments and keep the happiness that we had together.